Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to be breaking down 50 data driven insights that'll help you with your marketing in 2025. So let's dive right in and get started. All right, let's see. So we're NP Digital. We're a global ad agency. We see tons of data and insights by working with companies all over the world. Plus, we have a lot of software tools where we're aggregating data, scraping the internet, and seeing what's changing, what's working, what's not, and we want to bring that to you today. If you also need help with your marketing, you can scan that QR code on the bottom left, and it'll take you to a webpage where you can fill out your information. So my name's Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. Today I also have Matt and Karen with me. Matt, do you want to give a quick introduction of yourself, and then Karen, you can go next?
Of course, yeah. No, thanks for having me, Neil. Hope the audio and everything is going to be working great today. Excited to be here. I'm Matthew Santos. I'm the Chief Product Officer at NPXL, which is the small to medium business division of the Neil Patel Digital umbrella. Excited to be bringing a lot of just data packed information to you guys today around trends that are going to affect your 2025 marketing strategies.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Bellin. I'm the VP of Data and Analytics at NP Digital, and my experience is in innovation and marketing. So I am using data and analytics to help enterprise brands get the outcomes they want by creating experiences that their customers need. I also am excited to share the data and insights with you today. These charts and stats are going to really help you as you navigate some of the complex challenges that are part of today's rapidly evolving marketing landscape.
51.1% of marketing decisions are based off of a gut feeling rather than analytics. If you've been doing marketing for a really long time, your gut's probably going to be directionally correct. But even me, I've been doing this stuff for 23 years now, literally 23 years now, and I still don't rely on my gut. Of course, if I've done something 10 times, I usually rely on my gut over data. But for most marketing initiatives, I still look at the data because what worked before may not work today. Marketing has evolved at a very rapid pace and things are changing. So you got to continually look at the data. And I'll give you a quick example of this. With one of my earlier startups, we used to make people sign up by logging in and registering by clicking sign up through Google or sign up with Google, right? You guys have all experienced that. Google gives you permission, people are good to go. That one change increased our conversion rate by over 90%. No joke, change the business overnight. If today I did it because my gut told me it worked in the past, it wouldn't work as well. You know, think about 10 years ago, there weren't as many privacy concerns are there as today. So the reason I bring up this example is you have to look at the data, and what once worked may not work today. And although your gut will tell you directionally what can work and what not, you should still look at the data. And relying on intuition can lead to costly mistakes. I deal with this all the time. And my team at this point knows if they have something and they want to test it, to bring me the data. Because data is less likely to lose you money, it saves you a lot of time, and it helps you grow faster. And this is what's caused NP Digital to be one of the fastest growing agencies. And the reason we're one of the fastest growing agencies is because our client results have been amazing, hence so many awards. I think last year alone we got like 34 awards or something like that Mike G was telling me. And it's because the data is working. We're implementing we're implementing all the trends in the data, and it's affecting our client strategy. And based on that, they're seeing faster growth. So today we're going to be covering those 50 insights. Plus, there's going to be a bonus one, and these are some of the things we're going to cover. And we're going to start off with channel insights. So let's dive right in.
All right, channel insights. So in this section, I'll share charts for the number of consumer touchpoints, the benefits of channel diversity, and the differences in impact by channel. Let's get started. Multiple touchpoints are a must. Today's complex customer journeys involve many interactions across different channels. The number of touchpoints the chart is showing increases with the price point, and the minimum marketers should plan for is 3, for example, when having a price point of $100 or less. Different channels have converting power. Diversify your efforts while making sure you've optimized the high converters, which are paid social for B2C and paid search for B2B. Marketers see a higher ROI as they add more channels, though there is a point of diminishing returns. As you add more channels, continue to maximize each one to enjoy the benefits of a diversified mix. In terms of revenue, paid ads, SEO, and email get the best ROI. Social media is popular, but it's not always a money maker, as you can see in the chart. And traffic doesn't equal revenue. However, SEO does deliver the highest share of traffic, resulting in a high share of revenue comparable to that of ads.
And this one right here, this is like a big mistake that we see companies make. They just believe that you just get more traffic, you make more money. In theory, yes, but the traffic needs to be the right type of traffic going after the right audience, and it needs to be qualified. Now, it doesn't mean that organic social has terrible traffic. It's that most people focus on likes and engagements and being cool and having more followers versus focusing on creating content for their ideal customer profile.
Great. Let's look at some consumer insights now. I'll share some insights in this section into what consumers are looking for before they decide to make a purchase. The top reasons marketers lose customers to their competition are differences in pricing, quality, loyalty rewards, delivery speed, and customer service. And what consumers prioritize has changed. So instead of leading with price or discounts, position your product as the best choice in the market by demonstrating quality, trust, results.
All right. So let's dive into a few SEO insights. So there's a lot of data that we've been aggregating across multiple industries, multiple client types, both small businesses and enterprise. And there's a lot of good information in here. So first and foremost, we just want to point out that, like most people may already understand, search is continuing to evolve year over year. New platforms are coming out, new ways for searching are coming about, and it's just evolving how search is occurring. So first and foremost, social media has now become a common search alternative for a lot of the younger generations. It often serves as a discovery channel that can inspire a Google search after. So I think a lot of individuals are trying to look at this as not just social media versus Google, but a combination of the two and seeing where in that funnel are people turning to either source. AI chatbots have also continued to grow over the last 5 to 7 years. They're used for quick answers to complex queries, and they may inspire a Google search to verify the facts, because a lot of AI chatbots are not using sources when they're responding back to queries. So as you can see in the chart to the left, these are different ways that people are using search for questions online. And search engines still continue to dominate a large percent of that, but we are seeing new platforms rising.
And one thing to keep in mind is when we did the study in last year and we were doing the research, the percentages add up to more than 100%. It's because people are using multiple platforms to perform a search. And what you'll find is search is turning into what, and Matt will go on, and this slide showcases that as well. But search is changing to what social media is. So people are like, oh, is AI going to kill Google? Well, did Instagram kill Facebook? Did TikTok kill Instagram? Did YouTube kill Facebook? And the reality is, according to Sprout Social, the average person uses 6.7 social networks per month. Okay, it's not that they just have accounts on these networks. They're using 6.7 social networks on average per month, right? So when you think about that, search is evolving in the same way. People are using search everywhere. And if you're not everywhere, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, which gets into this slide that Matt is going to talk about.
Yep. No, I love that point that you're making. And it's exactly what Neil is saying here. Search is continuing to change. We're starting to see just a little bit of that market share that Google used to dominate over the years. I mean, if you asked us 5 to 7 years ago, who are the major players in search, we would have said Google, Bing, Yahoo, and then the list would have really tailed off after that. But now you can see all of these different options, and Google now only holds about 18.8% of this total market share. You'll see tools like Instagram, Meta, Baidu, Snapchat, YouTube, all starting to grow in that market share. And it's exactly what Neil said. It's not that people are just going to one of these. It's that people are now going to multiple sources when they have a query to get as much information as possible.
Yeah, and that was the platforms that we can find data on, but that's over 45 billion searches a day.
Yep.
Sorry about that. There's not 45 billion people in this world. It's a lot of people searching on multiple platforms to find what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So number 10 here, voice search is the future, not just for the near me type of searches that people may be verbalizing to their devices, but there's a lot of other ways that people are using voice search. You have Apple AI, you have Google Assistant, you have Alexa that can answer informational questions by accessing information on the web for you through these at-home devices. So there are a lot more ways that people are leveraging wearable technology, their cell phones, their devices in their homes to get information very quickly. And we're starting to see voice versus text becoming a lot more prevalent nowadays. And you can see on this chart on the right how different age groups use the different types of searches. So as you start getting younger in these generations, they're starting to leverage voice search more. So start thinking of ways that you can be optimizing your content, your videos, whatever it may be, to apply more towards how people are going to voice search this as opposed to just the traditional keyword queries when people are typing things into their devices.
And if you have young kids, you'll find that they search through voice first, and that's what they've learned. Well, we're all used to typing first because that's what the technology was when we started searching. So you're going to see kids primarily use voice search as they grow older because that's what they're used to. And they think what we do is crazy. You know, I know that sounds a little off the wall, but seriously. And because AI is integrating to all these voice devices, the responses are getting better and better as well.
Yep, absolutely. So some key pages for organic traffic, because we're starting to see this shift a little bit as well. I think over the last decade or two, we've seen blog posts be just the absolute dominant media format. But there are different media formats that are starting to take a little bit of the market share away from that. So besides blog posts, you need to start investing in other types of assets like tools, homepage information, and also your product pages. I feel like Neil has been talking about this for years. This has been a little bit of his cutting edge in the market, was not just creating a blog and a video format and social media content, but also trying to figure out what are the tools that he could either create from scratch or buy existing tools and optimize them and add more value to them over time and give people a reason to come and enjoy your brand. So start thinking of ways that you can leverage tools out there, because that can start to bring you a lot more traffic and qualified traffic. Search queries are also evolving. So we're starting to see that these queries are starting to get longer over time as well. So you'll see all the way back to 2013 and earlier that the amount of longer tailed keywords were a lot less frequent. And now we're starting to see that anywhere from 3 to 5 keywords or 5 to 8 keywords are becoming the norm for a lot more searches. What that shows us is that people are becoming a lot more informed before they're approaching their device to make a query, to make a search. And so what that's showing us is that they already have some level of information before they're making this search, which is just making them that more empowered to make a conversion if they do find the right website. So start figuring out ways to incorporate longer tail keywords, longer formats of content into your marketing so that you can start coming up for these more detailed search queries. Also, 8% of searches are questions nowadays. So we're starting to see this rise as well. And what you're going to see here are 3 different formats that we broke down: how, what, and why type of queries. These are the essential ways that people are going about making searches with different platforms that they're going about. Apologies as Teams continues to try to pull up on my screen. All right, SEO strategies must focus on search intent. So what you'll see here are essentially half of all searches on Google are informational in nature. 1 out of every 3 searchers already have a destination in mind by the time they're approaching their platform that they're going with, whether it be ChatGPT, whether it be Google, whether it be Bing, whatever it is. But essentially, we break down 4 categories of search when individuals are coming to a platform. You have informational, navigational, commercial, and transactional. And what we're starting to see is that a lot more searches are continuing to go towards the informational route because people want to be informed before they make a conversion. They don't want to feel like they're just being sold to. They want to feel like they have made the right decision. They've studied the reviews, the data that's out there, and they're making the best decision for them. You need to invest in your brand. So building brand awareness can help you capture more traffic on Google. I think a lot of people make this mistake of just focusing on their non-branded keywords and just continuing to optimize for that. But individuals, once they find a brand, they're starting to do branded search. And if they don't find your brand there towards the top, it is going to hurt your traffic over time. SEO is a long-term game, and you have to start thinking about investing in SEO early if you're an established website to maximize those returns. So as you can see in the chart to the left, those are your orange bars. So if you're an established website, in your earlier years, you will start seeing a good return on your SEO versus the blue websites, which are a little bit newer. Those first 2 years are a little bit more of a grind. You may not see a positive ROI, but if you stick to it, the results do compound. And after 2, 3, 4 years, you can start seeing some pretty incredible results in your ROI when it comes from SEO. And one of the last things we want to chat about here with SEO is establishing EEAT. I know we talk a lot about it in our different webinars and our content. And EEAT does stand for expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And we'll be one of the first to say it's not easy to establish EEAT. And there's a reason for that. If your content doesn't meet these criteria, you're going to struggle to rank on Google. And Google has designed their algorithm over the years for this on purpose because they want the best brands, the best information, the most authoritative, the most trustworthy types of brands to keep ranking at the top. So make sure that you're focusing on these signals. As you can see here on the chart to the right, there are a lot of different examples of pieces of ranking factors that you can focus on that can help drive your EEAT over time. And GPT. So now SEO does have to include how to optimize to show up within a GPT, whether it be ChatGPT, Gemini, or other types of conversational AI. So these are a bunch of factors on the left that you need to start considering. Focus on your content quality, the depth of that content, and how fresh that content is. Continue to build quality links, and you'll continue to see yourself show up on GPT queries if you want your information to be scraped for GPT. So content marketing. So now we're going to dive into, outside of SEO, just content specifically. What are some insights? What are some data-driven pieces of information that we can bring you around 2025 strategies to help your content marketing? So first here, costly content doesn't always mean a better ROI. So try to spend 20% of your efforts on content strategies with a quick payback period and 80% on the ones that produce a better long-term ROI. So I love that this is that 80-20 rule, right? And as you can see here, blogs are still a format that can bring you a lower amount of initial investment and a higher ROI or a higher traffic potential or conversion potential down the road. So blogs, case studies, webinars, video formats, and also tools. Tools are obviously a little bit more expensive, but over time, the ROI that they can bring you is significant compared to the initial investment. Long form content is more memorable. So we're seeing that when it comes to long form versus short form content, individuals are retaining certain pieces of information a little bit more. So what you'll see here is about 35% of people retain at least one piece of information from a blog or long form piece of content that they consumed recently, as opposed to a shorter form that maybe just didn't stick in their long-term memory as long as they would have expected.
Yeah, so for this study, we did something really interesting where we had a group of people watch short form videos and long form videos, and they were able to select the stuff that they actually wanted to watch, right? So they could skip, etc. And what we found is the next day when we asked them, questions related to the content they watched, people didn't really remember much of the stuff that they watched when it came to short form. And with the long form, they had much better retention. So it just shows you like short form is great to bring people in the door. Long form is great to not just gain their attention, but to convert them into a customer. So a combo of both is great. Short form to get the eyeballs, long form to convert them into a customer.
Beautiful. So number 21 here, a strong hook does make a massive difference. So if you can't convince people to stay within the allotted amount of time on your website, your engagement and conversions will eventually start coming in lower. And these are massive ranking signals for Google and other search engines and other platforms, right? So you got algorithms on Instagram, you have algorithms on TikTok. So it's all based on the engagement, the initial engagement, how long people are watching or how long people are staying on your pages for. So the attention by content type is a massive factor. And I love this study here because what you'll see here is this is the amount of time you have to capture their attention as soon as somebody starts engaging with your content. So when it comes to a webinar, you have just under 5 minutes to capture their attention. If you don't capture their attention within that 5-minute window, they're probably going to leave your webinar. And as you can see moving down, some of the ones I'm going to call out here, if you produce case studies, you have about 46 seconds to capture somebody's attention to see if they trust your brand with that case study. A blog post, 14 seconds. That's literally the title of your blog post and probably the first 2 sentences. If you're not becoming engaging enough within that short piece of content, they're not going to remain on your blog. So as you can see here, very short attention spans. You have to focus on grabbing their attention immediately. Numbers drive results. This is a cool way of taking the data from the previous slide and making it a little bit more actionable. So what are the tactics that you could be incorporating that can make your headlines, your content, your webinars, your videos a little bit more effective? So as you can see from the chart on the right, you have number-based type of information, data-driven type of information. As you can see, today's webinar is a heavy data-driven type of webinar. We're eating our own dog food, right? So as we can see from the data here, curiosity invoking, call to action, urgency, scarcity, these are all tactics that work. And you have to start incorporating them into your titles and into that first part of any content you create. Your content should support the customer journey. So try generating awareness with podcasts, infographics, blogs, and short form videos. Drive conversions with the white papers, with webinars and case studies. So essentially what this is saying is you have to continue to think of content in a funnel. You have your awareness phase, which may be more of your just quick attention grabbing. It's the least time consuming type of content. Your initial short videos, your blogs, your Google business profile posts, whatever it may be, just that shortest form of content. Then from there, you have your consideration phase where you're now bringing them down the funnel. And then your decision phase where you're hitting them with a lot more of the longer formats that really start to showcase your expertise, your trustworthiness from your brand, right? So the effectiveness of the different content types by the funnel stage, as you'll see here. So you have podcasts, infographics, and blogs, like I said, more awareness phase. You have videos, images, and white papers is more of your consideration phase. And then as you go down the funnel, that's where you have webinars and case studies that take a little bit more time to consume, but that's where people are finally ready to make a decision. And that's where you're serving that type of content. And then the different age groups and their preferences with content formats. So this is pretty cool. You'll see on the left axis, you have your generations, and then underneath you have the different content formats. What you'll see as a consistent thread through every generation, through every age that you have here, video formats seem to be the number one way that people want to consume content or information. Obviously, with different generations, you then have different formats outside of that. But if you can start to spend a little bit more time ideating how you can generate videos, and these don't have to be high grade type of production or anything along those lines. I think a lot of generations now are looking for authenticity in videos, right? They want to maybe see it in your iPhone or smartphone format, feel like it was just shot right at home and not in some perfectly produced studio. So it doesn't always have to be to the nines. There's a lot of different ways to produce video to start connecting with different audiences and different generations.
As Matt said, we see lo-fi content actually performing better than highly produced content. Just bust out your phone, record, keep it simple, keep it real. It does better from what we see majority of the time.
Absolutely. Google favors certain content formats. So the SERP layout keeps changing year after year, quarter after quarter. So keep an eye on the types of content that rank for your key search terms. So when was the last time you punched in your actual own keywords that you're targeting and doing all this marketing for and seen what's coming up on the SERP? It's probably changed since the last time you've looked. So it may not be the typical blue links of blogs and articles. It may be more images or video formats, or it may be Reddit now. We're starting to see Reddit popping up a lot more. So start figuring out different ways to continue to increase your omni-channel efforts and omni format efforts to figure out what is your audience consuming the most. The most popular formats aren't always the most effective ones. And this is where, again, all this data that we're showing you today, it may apply to your industry, it may not. So for your industry, it may not be video format. It may still be white papers and ebooks and whatever have you, right? So you have to understand, what is your audience consuming? What is your competition shooting out there for your audience? Is it long form? Is it short form? Is it video? Is it written, right? So try and understand what's best for your industry and make sure you're optimizing based off of that. And what you'll see is, over the years, we've seen long form video start to come down and short form video start to take hold. Obviously, you have things like YouTube Shorts, you have Instagram Reels, you have TikTok that were a major contributor to this. So again, try and figure out what is going to be the most effective for your brand. Longer isn't always better for SEO. And this is in regards of the written content here. So there is a little bit of diminishing returns as you start going above 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 words of content. Again, this is very dependent on your industry. If you're in a fintech space or a SaaS space or somewhere where you need to be giving a lot of information, then you may still be ranking very high by going 4,000 plus words. But in a lot of spaces, audiences just are becoming less and less attentive to long form content. So pay attention to what's going to affect your traffic the best and what is the best way to just deliver that message. Don't just keep writing for the sake of writing. Just the spirit of the message. If it's driven, then stop writing at that point. Keeping content fresh does help SEO. So creating new content is good, but you also need to update your existing content regularly. And I think this is a large part of what we do for not only our own blog at Neil Patel, but also for a lot of our clients, is we're not just constantly always pumping out new content for them. We're also going back and refreshing old content on behalf of their efforts, because we know that Google is constantly looking for edited, spruced up content. If it's outdated content, getting rid of it and redirecting it, whatever needs to be done to update that content to make sure it's the most relevant to today's information, to your audience, you need to make sure you're doing it. So as you'll see here on the chart, there is a percent in growth of traffic as you're putting effort towards both of these buckets. So find that balance for you. Is it 70% new content and 30% refreshing content? Or is it maybe about 60% of your time is refreshing old content and only 40% of your time is creating new content? So what's that balance for your brand?
And you'll find that the older your business, the more time you spend updating. The newer your business, the more time you just spend creating new content.
That's a good point. All right, social media insights. So video does perform best on social media. There's a lot of studies that we've been doing around this. We found that the videos that focus on how-to or listicle type of information seem to outperform other types of videos. But essentially, video versus text-based content, there is a pretty significant difference here. What you'll see here is short form and long form video are outperforming the other types of content on social media, as opposed to interviews and podcasts, memes, or user-generated content. Consumers connect with relatable influencers. So it's not always about going after the massive A-listers out there and spending hundreds of thousands on a post and just realizing if you don't have that budget, you just feel defeated and you don't leverage influencers. No, there's a lot of different types of influencers out there. There's a whole spectrum. And consumers are starting to connect a lot more with the influencers that they can relate to. The influencers that only have about 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers. They're a lot more down to earth and they're a lot more collaborative with different brands. So mid-size and micro influencers may be the best result for your brand. So try and find ways to locate these mid-size or micro influencers. And as you can see here, a mid-size is anywhere between 100,000 to 500,000 followers. And a micro is anywhere between 1,000 to 100,000. There's a lot more micro influencers out there than you think. And they're a lot more open to collabing with you and leveraging your message to their audience to help grow.
And the smaller the influencer, the more likely they are to do a performance-based deal, which is much more profitable for you, versus wanting a ton of money up front, which is what the larger influencers want. And the larger ones don't put in the effort in most cases compared to the smaller ones who really care and want to try because they want to keep doing it and get more business because they don't have as many opportunities. So we just see them putting in much more effort.
Very well said. All right, number 31, the best times to post on social media. So don't just post because you need to post, and also try and figure out in your industry, in your space, how often are people posting? And emphasize quality over that quantity, right? So if on this page you see that on Instagram, it's best for you to be posting about 4 times a day, around 10 o'clock, around 2 p.m., around 5 p.m., and again around 7 p.m., don't just take that and run with it. Like, do some research and figure out, is that best for you? Are 4 posts a day doable? Can you still maintain quality with 4 posts a day? Or at some point, are you just spitting out information and a bunch of AI created imagery just for the sake of doing it, and now it's hurting your brand, right? So find that delicate balance. Try and figure out what are the best times to post on social media based on when your audience is going to be on there, when they're maybe more receptive to in engaging with that type of content, and hopefully converting. Social media is becoming the dominant channel for product discovery. Half of shoppers worldwide have used social media to discover products, and almost 60% have used it to purchase something. Obviously, we've seen different platforms like TikTok and Instagram over the past 2 years actually add links that will lead you from a post to a direct product, which have now made this a lot easier. But again, over time, we're only going to see this grow in popularity. So what you can see here is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok are the 4 top platforms right now for bringing new eyeballs to a product and helping them convert. Social media campaigns should be age specific. So you have older audiences that are maybe highlighting around urgency more. You have younger audiences that are maybe emphasizing around discovery. And then across all the demographics, what you're seeing is you have to leverage some format of influencer strategically. So as we can see here in the chart on the right, you'll see this common thread right here in the orange, where ease of purchase across everybody is also probably the biggest factor, right? Sure, you can offer free shipping. Sure, you can offer fast shipping and these other aspects. But if your experience for them to purchase from you is super simple, if it's just literally the click of a couple buttons, you offer things like Apple Pay, or you offer things like break down this payment into a couple different installments for individuals who can't afford the full payment right now. Like, these are all little micro aspects of your shopping experience that could drive much higher conversions because the experience is just so seamless. Different social channels deliver different CLV. So in the B2B space, business to business, you want to prioritize LinkedIn, X or Twitter, and YouTube. In the B2C, business to consumer, you want to invest in YouTube, Meta, and Pinterest. So what you'll see here is the different social networks that generate customers with the highest lifetime value. That's what CLV stands for. So you still have Meta or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and Snapchat. And what you'll see here is that on B2B versus B2C, you'll see different variations of customer lifetime value. All right, my last section here, and you won't have to hear me speak as much anymore. Email marketing. So number 35, in email marketing, less can be more. So strict list hygiene and segmentation are absolutely key still to this day. No more than about 4 emails a week is what we're finding to be that sweet spot. And keep your email simple. I think Neil does a phenomenal job of this, and this is mainly for deliverability into almost every platform. So if you're spending a lot of time creating high fidelity images and a lot of just graphically designed emails, that may be great for a good chunk of your audience, but a large part of your audience may not even be seeing that email because it maybe hit their spam folder, or a lot of those elements just didn't come through, so the email came through broken. So keeping your emails just simple, text-based, and a link can make sure that your emails are delivering to the highest amount of inbox percentages. So what you'll see here on the chart to the right are a lot of different key factors in email marketing that still to this day are some of the highest factors to help you drive the most ROI from your email efforts. Send time optimization does increase your open rate. So just like social media we talked about before, in email marketing, there are certain times of the day and certain times of the week that if you send around those times, you're going to get the best open rates. So send your most important emails from Tuesday to Thursday between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. in your audience's time zone. That's the sweet spot. The inbox is not a billboard. So good email campaigns deliver value and help build a relationship. What you're going to see here down at the bottom is a chart where individuals are leveraging email marketing as just a billboard to just blast affiliate information, products, press announcements, webinar invitations without any sort of context, without any sort of warming up. And what you'll see is that the emails that actually get the highest open rates and the least amount of unsubscribes and the least amount of complaints are the ones that are more informational and helpful. So your welcome sequences, your support emails, your thank you emails, your reminder emails, these are the ones that are causing people to unsubscribe the least. So take that for what it's worth. Diversifying organic channels is key to driving email opt-ins. Content marketing generates 3 times as many leads as traditional marketing. So what you'll see here is the organic channels that are driving people to sign up for either your newsletter or for any sort of email communication are still Google #1, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and it starts tailing off as you start going deeper into social media. But again, try and find ways to leverage these platforms to get people to sign up for some format of email communication with you. All right.
Paid advertising. So in our paid advertising charts, you will learn how marketers are making their paid advertising profitable. Making campaigns profitable requires testing. In our study, over 78% of marketers said their paid ads aren't profitable. You can anticipate going through at least 14 different creatives before getting to scale, depending on the platform. On Facebook, it's 61. So definitely get comfortable with iterations in your creative. Talking about platforms, Google and Meta rule the advertising game. When diversifying platforms, use this chart to find an opportunity to break through on ones that are less competitive. They have a lower percentage of ad spend and have a higher retention per user, a longer time spent. Those platforms may not drive as much volume, but they can still produce a high ROI due to being less competitive. Ad success is measured in conversions, and conversion rates will vary by channel. Cost per click and cost per impression help you understand the ad cost of a sale, but what matters is the ad conversion rate and how many sales that translates into. Words impact your paid media ROI. Words like best, easy, limited have a high click-through rate and low cost per click in paid advertising, and that's good. The key to making ads work is to think beyond the ad itself. You can make the most of your advertising budget by applying a mix of these proven strategies. If you already have a funnel, like Matt talked about, great job. Add multiple payment options, which he also mentioned. Have those too. Incorporate an email drip for your non-buyers, which was part of our email section. All right, CRO, conversion rate optimization. So this section is full of charts to help you with applying colors, psychological and UX principles, and website features that help you improve your conversions. Color can impact conversions. Certain colors work better for specific industries, like blue for finance and tech, or green for health and wellness. CTAs need to pop. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on the color as well as the contrast. Blue, green, and red can really stand out on the screen. Clicks don't always correlate with conversions. So you need to use multiple psychological triggers to increase your conversions. And several of the ones listed here can be combined, like the different strategies I shared earlier. Combining these different triggers can help you with your conversion rates. Forms are about balance. So you want to make sure you have enough form fields to assess your lead quality. However, not so many that it discourages people who need your product or service from filling out the form. If you find yourself needing more than 4 form fields, consider testing a form where you expose 2 form fields at a time to make it easy for your customer to convert.
And ideally with form fields, what we found is, if you're not asking enough information, you may get a high conversion rate from a lead, visitor to lead, but then the lead to a close or revenue is going to be really terrible. So you have to look at the whole funnel conversion rates. So from visitor to closed deal and look at each stage. And one of the stages may have a lower conversion rate, but if your overall conversion rate is higher to a closed deal by asking for more form fields, just keep that in mind so you can always run a split test with that.
Good insight. All right, look at this mix of large and small tweaks we can make to improve conversion rates. Even seemingly small tweaks like improving load time can have a big impact. Testing copy that addresses the reasons people may have to not convert also helps you increase your A/B testing wins.
Yeah, back in the day, Amazon did a study. It was like for every second delayed in load time we have, we lose X billion dollars. It was something ridiculous. None of us are the size of Amazon, but nonetheless, it just shows you that load time is super important. Because if an established brand loses that much revenue for load time, it means, all of us who don't have as strong as brand as Amazon, in theory, we should see a higher number percentage-wise.
Yes, and brands like Amazon are also famous for their UX improvements because these UX improvements can increase so many sales and throughout the whole funnel, including reducing cart abandonment. So we're talking about combining all these strategies. So combine as many of these UX elements here as possible to reduce the decision fatigue from your customer and to prevent them from hesitating to purchase. So UX changes, just simply mobile optimization, will help you create a checkout experience that guides your users, guides your customers toward checkout completion. If you can focus on content that gives consumers the information and is transparent so that they can feel compelled to purchase, they will be less likely to abandon their cart after having added something to it. That's what this chart is sharing here. So that's it for our 50. So take it away, Neil, for some bonus insights.
And we have a bonus one. So let's go over the bonus one. We got AI insights here. So look, a lot of marketers are using AI, and they believe that it's a magic pill. More than 50% of marketers are using AI to support copywriting, email, social media, search. It isn't a magic pill, really, right? Even though a lot of people believe it is and it's getting pitched that way, it isn't in its current form, right? I'm not saying the technology won't improve and get better, but in today's form, in marketing, it cannot solve everything that you're looking to do. And when we look at the ROI for AI and marketing, it's not in the stuff people are talking about. Everyone's talking about, oh, I'm using it to create content or videos. Really, a lot of it, the ROI is coming from things like cost savings and automating mundane, boring tasks. It's not actually coming from doing things like creating, crazy content. It's coming from things like data and analytics and chatbots to get people through objections when they have support. So think about the ugly stuff. And when you use AI for some of those ugly things that aren't as visual, we're seeing a much higher ROI when it comes to marketing. And human written content, a lot of people are like, oh, we got to end up writing AI based content. We did a study with, I believe it was 744 articles. I forgot how many websites. Half of them were AI, half of them were human written. And after, a good amount of time, we looked at over a 12-month period, but AI generated content was on average generating 5.54x. I mean, a human generated content was generating 5.54x more traffic from search organic than human generated content. Tongue twister here. The human generated content after a period of 12 months was generating on average 5.54x more organic search traffic than AI generated content. Sorry about that. So humans won here. Now, this doesn't mean you can't use AI to help you with your content creation. We're just finding that it's just creating the same regurgitated information over and over again, and it doesn't do as well from a search and ranking standpoint. And it lacks a lot of the elements from EEAT, which Matt talked about earlier. And when we look at paid ads, we did a quick experiment, and this was with Facebook ads. And what we ended up finding out was human generated ads converted better than AI generated ads. But then when we took the human winning variations and then had AI spin up more variations of that, we found that the winning combo was humans combined with AI really won. And it just shows AI is great, but when you combine it with humans, it typically performs much better. So, we presented a lot of stats and data. There's so many things here that we presented on. It's hard for all of you guys to get to all of it. You'll find our slides and our decks on YouTube and our social profiles like X, where we did this presentation. It'll be live and recorded there for you. But just pick a few of the holes that you saw based on the data we presented. Focus on improving them one at a time, and over time, you should see your results, your revenue, your traffic go up. And what I recommend is go after the channels that are the most effective and the least difficult to execute on first, right? There's a lot of different opportunities you have, but go after the low-hanging fruit first, because that's where you're going to do the best. In essence, to wrap it up, you want to balance not just data, but also with your gut, because you won't always be able to find data. And when you combine both of them, you should have a winning strategy on your hand. If you don't have a ton of experience, don't rely on your gut as much. Just as a FYI, I'm not saying your gut's terrible. It's just it's not going to perform as well if you don't have tons of experience within the marketing industry. And if you want to know where to find a lot of these stats, you can go on our social profiles like X, Instagram. I post a lot of them there. We're going to end up creating a page on the NP Digital site to break down a lot of the stats and data. Also, keep in mind that if I know people are probably wondering where we're getting a lot of these stats and data. A lot of it's from surveying, our own analysis. We have our own tools, scraping a lot of data, from the web and analyzing and crunching it, and then figuring out where patterns are. Looking at analytics data in aggregate, right? When you're aggregating a lot of different sites, you're end up able to see a lot of data and trends and see what's working and what's not.
Once this page goes live on the website, I think our goal with this, guys, is to not make you wait till these webinars to always access these data points. We want to make these data points accessible to you at any point in time. We're very excited for this initiative. There's going to be a lot of different marketing trends, analysis, charts, all types of statistics that we're going to be uploading to this page on our website.
Yep. If you want to work with us, scan the QR code. You can book a call, and we would love to work together to help you grow. We work with both SMBs and enterprise companies throughout the whole world. And we have an upcoming webinar on 3xing your SEO traffic with AI. We'll talk about some hacks and strategies that we've used that work. Scan the QR code if you want to attend it. Hopefully we'll see you there as well. All right, Colin, let's dive into some Q&A.
Q&A, good stuff. Lots of questions, Neil, about where to find stuff. So thank you for answering that before I popped on. So question, Neil, and know the answer to this, but just want to clarify. So we should always try to go with data, not our gut feelings, right?
You should look at the data and combine it with your gut. Data usually will be the one that wins, but you can't always rely on data. And the reason I say that is, remember I broke down the example when we started about Kissmetrics and how I used the sign-in with Google? The data showed that it was converting 90+% better, but things change over time. The data can't take into account that over time people had privacy concerns and some of those things won't work as well. So it's a combination of gut, which I don't like the word gut as much as experience. So I would combine experience with data is a winning combination.
There you go. Next question. So Karen, it's going to go to you, but Neil, Matt, chime in. What indicators do you use to segment audiences that may convert at a higher rate and have higher return on ad spend? Like any silver bullet there, or just thoughts, Karen?
Well, one of the things that I'm working on with our clients right now is creating opportunities on their websites where folks can self-identify to give us a little bit more data around which audience they belong to based on our research and our understanding of who the brand's audience is. So for example, if you have an academic audience and a professional audience, there may be opportunities to get more ROAS at different seasonality times from your academic audience, for example, or just seeing the differences in the type of content that your audience is accessing to provide additional signals for your segmentation to create the best ROI and the best messaging.
Awesome. I don't know if Neil, Matt, if you had anything to add on there, but I think that was a great response. Thank you, Karen. Matt, can you explain a little more detail? You threw out sort of tools, and there were a chart or two that referenced tools. Is that a link bait strategy thing? You know, can you just explain a little bit more about why tools might be valuable for most industries, whether it's B2B or B2C?
For sure. Yeah, no matter what the industry is, if you're going to be investing in tools, I would say it's not for the link bait. I think the last thing you want to do is either buy or create a tool that is very low quality. You don't really put the effort into it to create a good user experience, and now you're driving traffic to it, and then people just don't ever want to return. The whole goal of leveraging a tool is to provide something to your audience, to your industry that's useful, that's helpful, that makes them want to keep coming back, that makes them want to talk about it. It becomes a buzz in the industry where people want to link back to it. People want to share it with their friends and send them a link to it, you know? So that's the goal of the tool, is to be helpful. It may not be a big revenue play. It may not be how you're acquiring a lot of your revenue. So it may be something where you're like, hey, I'm kind of going to take a hit on how much I've invested on this tool, because by making it this helpful, I'll start converting customers through my actual business. So there's a lot of different ways to think about it, but I think the last way to think about it would be link baiting.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you. While we have you, Matt, there was a question about how to, and we get this often actually, how to optimize for voice search.
Yes.
The viewer said we show up organically via like a traditional blue link or maybe a snippet, but not at all on voice. And then in parentheses, Alexa, any,
Yeah.
oh, mine just, of course, lit
Did
up,
you
but
just-
any tips or tricks?
Yeah. So
for-
I would say it depends on what space you're in for the Alexa, for the Google Home, any of those type of devices. Usually those devices, the areas that you want to focus optimization on are kind of more local based. So your Google business profiles, your Bing places, your Yelp, if you could really spend time adding more information to your descriptions, maybe putting together Google posts on your Google business profile, those would be ways to help increase like local type of searches on Alexa. On a national scale, those are going to be incredibly difficult. At that point, you're just talking about trying your best to rank at the top of any given SERP or any zero click area for Google or any of these other search engines where it's either the zero click right at the top or the people also ask section. If you can start getting into those areas by optimizing kind of TLDR sections in your content, so kind of summarizing whatever's about to happen below right up top, optimizing your meta tags, your titles, your descriptions, your headers. I think a large part of this is header optimization with content right below it. These are all different tactics to help you rank for voice search. And then again, remember, voice search is a lot more long tail. It's not these short tail phrases. So if you can start finding with tools like Answer the Public, if you could pop in a short term phrase and then find all the long tail phrases of it, look if your content's actually optimized around those to see if voice search can start becoming a lot more just a bigger opportunity for traffic for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. So Neil, this one comes up and we've got 2 minutes left, so we'll try to get through at least 2 more. This one comes up a lot. Is there a definition, of long form content versus short form in both written and video forms?
So yeah, easiest answer for video format is just look at the platforms. They'll tell you what their definition is of short versus long, because based on the upload criteria, short form may have to be under a minute, some are 2 minutes, some are a minute and a half. It depends on the platform. And then the long form is usually the other bucket, but typically long form, you want it at least 5 minutes, but we're really seeing results better for 10 plus minutes. It doesn't need to be 20, but we see 10 plus is really the key. As for text-based content, typically we see short form is like under 1,000. Anything long form is usually above 1,000. For most cases, just generalizing here.
Awesome. And then one last one. Speaking of tools, Matt, Neil,
Yes.
Karen, I can pile on too. Do you know of a good tool to check for the efficiency, this is a tough one, of headlines, titles, subject lines, etc.? I was going to say, Ubersuggest has AI Writer, and it does a really good job of proposing different headlines and titles based on keywords that you really want to go after. I don't know if Matt, Neil, or Karen, you had any other magical tools that you love to help with efficiency when it comes to creating good, strong headlines, titles, subject lines, etc.
I would say for me it'd be a combination of two things. Like one, rather than going to like external tools to just try and find like what are the hottest titles right now, I would more go into like Search Console. Like go into your own Search Console and go through all of your different pages that have content, whether it be product pages or actual blog posts, and just see what is performing, like what is gaining impressions, what is gaining traffic, what is moving your keyword rankings, and determine it based off of your own audience. And then from there, take that data, put it into like an Ubersuggest or Answer the Public to now create you additional questions or phrases based on some of that information. And so now you're basing it off of just your own personal data and what your audience is reacting towards, as opposed to just external data sources.
Yeah, great answer. And I'll just...
Yep, I agree with that. Or you could just go on social media and see what's hot right now, and you can repurpose some of those headlines, even if they're not in your industry, to something that's more for your industry. But I agree with Matt as well.
Colin, I think you had
I was
something
just
to
going
add
to
as
say,
well.
like, if you've got some funds, paid search is always a great place to test things quickly to see, which headlines or descriptions work, because it's the same SERP at the end of the day. And if it works in paid search, chances are, it might work in organic search as well. So that's another thing to maybe test and try.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. Really appreciate it. I know we went a little bit over. Thank you, team. And for everyone, if you're interested in working with us, check out npdigital.com. And we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Bye.